We have, of course, it's a pleasure and an honor to have AIA Global Ambassador, the legend, doesn't need more of an introduction than that, the legend, David Beckham, joining us today. David, hi, how are you? Welcome.
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I'm excited about this talk today.
And of course, we have, because it's when David met Neeraj, so obviously we have Neeraj as well, who's joining us from the United States. He's in California right now. The pride of India, only our second individual gold medalist, Mr. Neeraj Chopra. Neeraj, क्या हाल है?
बहुत ही अच्छा हूं और बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
Thank you so much. Hi David, it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for taking out time and doing this.
No, it's a pleasure to speak to you again, and welcome to the family, by the way.
Yeah, it seems like that though, right? We seem to be having this annual tradition of having these conversations. I hope we can keep this up, not just for me, because of course I'm a big fan of yours, but for all your fans in India. As you know, from your younger days in Manchester United, you've had a big fan. I don't know how aware you are of the humongous fan following you have in India.
You know what? The one thing and the one place that I've never been that I really want to go is India, and I've never been. So I know about the fan base there, and obviously the support that I've always had throughout my career, and also for my family as well. So I actually cannot wait to actually come to India, and we can have a conversation actually in person at some point. That would be the dream.
That is absolutely fantastic. I really look forward to that. I mean, you are AIA's global ambassador, of course, and you're here today joining us in that capacity. And you have a big fan base in India who'd be super excited to see you. I hope this pandemic can end soon and then we can freely travel everywhere. We also have Neeraj Chopra, who's joining us, Tata AIA's brand ambassador, Olympic gold medalist, and that is very rare in India. It's like gold. Oh, hang on. That was a very easy pun. Neeraj, वेलकम टू द फैमिली. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग हियर. मैं जानता हूं कि अभी आप दुनिया के किसी और कोने में हैं. डेविड इज इन लंदन, मैं इंडिया में हूं, और आप अभी कैलिफोर्निया में ट्रेनिंग कर रहे हैं.
जी, बहुत ही अच्छा लग रहा है. सबसे पहले तो डेविड सर को देख के मतलब बहुत अच्छा लगा. मैंने उस टाइम पे फुटबॉल इतना फॉलो नहीं किया, लेकिन मैं हमेशा वीडियोस देखता रहता था. और डेविड सर की शुरू से ही मतलब प्लेइंग भी, खेलते ही बहुत अच्छा थे, और पर्सनैलिटी मतलब हर तरह से उन्होंने, और उनको भी शायद बाइक्स का ज्यादा शौक है, और मुझे भी बाइक और गाड़ियों का बहुत शौक है. तो बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है सर से बात करके.
Oh, cars and bikes, David. Neeraj is saying he's a fan of cars and bikes. Are you as well?
Oh, I'm a big fan of cars and bikes. You know, being in California, you know, that was one of my favorite places to ride.
Yeah, California's got great roads. But Neeraj, अभी आपको तो अलाउड नहीं होगा मोटरसाइकिल चलाना?
नहीं, मोटरसाइकिल नहीं, कार चला रहे हैं, पर स्पीड लिमिट है, उससे ज्यादा नहीं चला सकते यहाँ पे.
बिल्कुल.
ध्यान रखते हैं.
और आप नेशनल ट्रेजर हैं, तो आप जब गाड़ी भी चला रहे हैं तो प्लीज हेलमेट पहन के चलाइए, ठीक है? प्लीज wear a helmet when you're driving a car as well. All right, let's kick things off. David, we're gonna just start with you. I mean, your journey from athlete to sporting legend, but if we were to just dial it real back to when you were a wee lad and discovered and you started your journey with Manchester United, if we could just walk down memory lane and tell us some of the memories that stick out from that phase of your life.
Well, I think, to be honest, most of my special memories really was when I actually moved to Manchester. You know, when I'm from London, I'm from East London. So most of my childhood up until I was 15 years old was spent in East London. And I had a great upbringing, amazing parents and two sisters. And then I obviously moved to Manchester when I was 15, almost 16 years old. And that's where really I stayed and lived the dream, to be honest, from 16 years old till 27 years old. So most of those years obviously was spent in Manchester, playing for the team that I'd always supported, and obviously winning trophies, which was very nice.
Of course. And नीरज, अगर हम आपको वापस लेके जाएं, जब शुरुआत हुई, नेशनल कैंप से शुरुआत हुई, I think it will be about 2015-16 तक वापस जा रहे हैं हम.
हाँ जी.
तो उस दौर के बारे में कुछ बताइए, और जब वो थोड़ा सा स्विच हुआ, जब आपको लगा कि हाँ यार, मेरा निशाना जो है ना, ये ठीक जगह पे लगा है.
बिल्कुल, क्योंकि उससे पहले ट्रेनिंग भी करते थे अच्छे से, लेकिन हमारे पास वो फैसिलिटी नहीं थी, मतलब खाना खुद बनाना पड़ता था, रिकवरी का टाइम नहीं मिलता था अच्छे से, और हम वहाँ पे जेवलिन जो फेंकते थे वो भी उतने उसके ओलंपिक क्वालिटी के नहीं थे। तो जब मैं कैंप में गया तो वहाँ पे अपने इंटरनेशनल एथलीट से मिला, और फैसिलिटी वहाँ पे थी, अच्छे जेवलिन थे, तो वो पूरा चेंजिंग मोमेंट था मेरे स्पोर्ट का। और उसके बाद ही मेरी जो है 1 साल में ही अच्छी परफॉर्मेंस आनी शुरू हुई, जो कि मैं इंटरनेशनल वगैरह भी खेला, और फिर मैंने अगले साल ही वर्ल्ड जूनियर रिकॉर्ड भी किया। तो उसके बाद से ही पूरा सब कुछ शुरू हो गया था।
तो खाना क्या पकाते थे आप उस टाइम? बिकॉज भाई हेल्थ इज वेल्थ, तो खाना क्या बनाते थे अपने लिए आप?
कुछ भी, मतलब सभी चीजें, रोटी भी बनानी आ गई थी, चावल, सब सब कुछ बनाना आ गया था वहां पे। तो उसके बाद से सब कुछ सीखे, क्योंकि घर से दूर थे, तो पूरा सब कुछ खुद ही करना पड़ता था।
David, Neeraj is talking about his younger days when he had to cook for himself. Did you must have had that as well when you moved to Manchester first?
Yeah, I did. And I was lucky because my mother always loved to cook for us as a family. So I learned a lot from my mum growing up. So then when I lived on my own, I bought my first house when I was 19 years old. Wow. And I was living literally on my own. So that was really the time where I learned everything that I'd learned from my mum. I then obviously did it at home myself. So I used to love cooking for myself, for my friends, and when my family came up. And now I love cooking for the kids. You know, I'm the chef at home, which I love, and luckily my kids love my food, and I think my wife likes it.
Top 3 favorites of the family? Top 3 David Beckham dishes?
Top 3 David Beckham dishes. I would say the kids love grilled salmon. So I make a nice grilled salmon with like a Singapore noodles. Second best dish is a roast dinner. I love to make roast chicken with roast potatoes every Sunday.
And Yorkies?
The number one.
Yorkies? Got some Yorkshire pudding?
Yorkshire puddings, that's a favorite of my kids. My kids they eat more Yorkshire puddings than anything. And the number one has to be spaghetti bolognese. The kids love spaghetti bolognese. So those are the 3 dishes.
मुंह में पानी आया नीरज?
सैल्मन तो मतलब मैं भी काफी वो खाता हूँ, सैल्मन मुझे भी बहुत अच्छी लगती है। Hopefully मुझे मौका मिले कभी डेविड सर की सैल्मन खाने का.
David, Neeraj is expressing his wish to come over and for dinner, and you cook salmon for him.
I'm more than happy to cook. I'm always cooking every single night anyway, so you're more than welcome whenever you're in town. I'll cook that salmon for you.
Excellent.
You, and when you come to India, then I can also cook something for you.
Excellent. I would love that.
What will you cook, Neeraj?
मैं अपने नमकीन चावल होते हैं जो वो बनाऊंगा सर के लिए, थोड़ा वो चेंज होगा उनके लिए.
Masala rice, David.
I would love that, because you know my favorite restaurant in London is an Indian restaurant, and I go there at least. I try to go there once a month or twice a month, and it's my favorite restaurant in London.
Ooh, Indian food. Spicy, medium spicy?
Spicy as possible.
I don't think you're talking to 2 Indians, right? Spicy for us is different. Spicy for us is fire for you.
Challenge. I'm up for the challenge.
So I guess I'm invited to this dinner as well. I just weaseled my way into an invitation. Okay, going back to your careers, David, tell us the advantage of starting early, because we have a lot of parents, I'm sure, are listening. We have young fans of yours who are listening. The advantage of finding that focus and finding your path and starting early.
Well, I think the advantage of that is that you learn very quickly what's good for you and what's not good for you. I think that I was very lucky to have a very healthy upbringing. So my mum always cooked really nice food, you know, and I always looked after myself. I always slept really well. And those things were really important, but I didn't realize how important they were at the time. When you're, 12, 13 years old, you didn't realize back then how important it was to eat the right things, to drink the right things, to rest as much as possible. But I was doing that naturally anyway, because that was my upbringing. Now, these days, you know, it's the first thing that I do for my kids. Make sure they're eating the right things, make sure that they're sleeping as much as possible, drinking as much water as possible. And you realize that when you get into those habits, it's such an important part. And that's one of the reasons why I think I had a career that lasted for 25 years, because I looked after myself from a very young age. And I think that if you can do that, then it sets the right examples for the children that you're teaching, my children, and those things have been so important for me throughout my career.
नीरज, आपके लिए क्या, आपके हिसाब से क्या एडवांटेज है एक यंग एज पर स्टार्ट करने का? आपको क्या दिखा अपनी परफॉर्मेंस में, अपनी लाइफ में?
यंग एज में स्टार्ट करने का मतलब एक तो यही फायदा है कि हमको अपॉर्चुनिटी ज्यादा मिलती हैं जूनियर से ही खेलने की, और उसके बाद फिर हम जब सीनियर तक जाते हैं तो हमारे पास ऑलरेडी काफी एक्सपीरियंस हो चुका होता है। और इंडिविजुअल स्पोर्ट है हमारा, तो हमारा बिल्कुल ही टीम स्पोर्ट से अलग है, खुद ही सब कुछ करना पड़ता है, और पूरा मतलब अकेले को ही सब कुछ, वो वहां पे सिचुएशन जैसी भी रहेगी वो खुद को तैयार करना पड़ता है। वहां पे ऐसा नहीं कि साथ में एथलीट बोल देंगे कि कम ऑन चल भाई अच्छा कर कुछ, है ना, वो खुद वहां पे अपने आप को तैयार करो और फिर वहां तक लेके जाओ, फिर वहां पे अच्छा करो। तो सबसे अच्छा एडवांटेज ये है कि बहुत ज्यादा जूनियर कंपटीशन खेलने को मिलते हैं, और साथ में मौका मिलता है सीनियर तक जाने के लिए कि सब कुछ हम अच्छे से सीख जाए, एक्सपीरियंस आ जाए खेल के, ताकि एकदम सीनियर खेलने जाएं तो इतना कोई बड़ा हमारे ऊपर इफेक्ट ना पड़े उसका। क्योंकि कई बार होता है कि हम सीनियर में जाते हैं लेकिन वहां पे ऑलरेडी उनकी परफॉर्मेंस काफी अच्छी होती है, वो फिर वो मेंटेन करना काफी मुश्किल होता है, इम्प्रूव करना, क्योंकि बार बार हम जाते हैं और उनसे अच्छा नहीं कर पाते। तो अर्ली एज में शुरू करने का ये फायदा होता है कि जब हम इंटरनेशनल या कहीं पे अच्छे स्टेज पे जाते हैं तो हम ऑलरेडी वहाँ उस लेवल के हो चुके होते हैं।
David, Neeraj makes a really interesting point about him being an individual athlete, and therefore you have to find the motivation yourself. Whereas if you're in a team sport, sometimes you find even on days when you don't find the motivation, you find it from your team members. I think that's a point worth talking about, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, I'm very lucky to, you know, have been in many great teams over the years, and yes, I can't even explain and imagine how difficult it is, you know, for athletes to be, you know, in a sport where they don't have a team around them, or they are individual, you know, in a sport. And I suppose, you know, the motivation over the years for me, you know, even if I would have been in a sport where I was on my own, I think I would have always been motivated because that's what my dad taught me. But I was also very lucky to be part of teams that if one of us wasn't feeling great on the day of a game or wasn't performing well, then I had teammates around me that actually brought that motivation out of me and was able to actually get me motivated. But, you know, I was very lucky to have been in some great teams.
Who was the person you turned to on days that you were feeling heavy, perhaps? Who was that one person in your career who you would always turn to talk to?
I think my dad. I think my dad, you know, whenever I was, you know, doubting myself or, you know, I had worries, you know, my dad was always, you know, a person that I was very close to. And if it wasn't my dad, you know, it would be Sir Alex Ferguson, or it would be Gary Neville, or, you know, the players and the managers that I grew up with, or Eric Harrison, the youth team coach. You know, whenever I was going through a difficult moment, those are the people that I went to.
नीरज, आपके लिए कौन है जिस दिन आप उठते हैं और लगते हैं कि आज पूरी तरह से मैं ऑन नहीं हुआ, तो किससे बात करते हैं? कौन मोटिवेट करता है आपको?
वैसे तो सही बताऊं तो मैंने खुद से ही ऐसा होना सीख लिया है कि यार करना है खुद ही, डेली कोई बताने नहीं आएगा, क्योंकि ये मुझे करना ही पड़ेगा, क्योंकि डेली किसी से फोन करूंगा तो वो। पर हाँ, मेरे सबसे छोटे अंकल हैं जो कि जिन्होंने मुझे स्पोर्ट्स शुरू करवाया और जिन्होंने मुझे रास्ता दिखाया स्पोर्ट्स का, और हमेशा से ही वो मेरे लिए पहले भी मोटिवेशन पूरा रखते थे, और अभी भी मैं उन्हीं से बात करता हूँ। उनसे बात करके मतलब सच में ऐसा फील होता है कि भाई हाँ, कोई है साथ में और चलो अच्छा और करो, बढ़िया।
नाइस।
हमारी जॉइंट फैमिली है तो मुझे इस चीज का काफी फायदा मिल रहा है।
Oh, fantastic. David, if we were to quickly ask you, you know, we talk about good stuff all the time, but sometimes we have to get motivated by the down days as well. So if David Beckham had to kick one unhealthy or bad habit out of his life, which one would that be?
Oh my goodness. You know what? If I had to pick one, and I've realized how important it is over the years, especially over the last 5 years, I think, even so, when I finished playing, more importantly, I've never really slept that well. And I think there's one thing I would like to always improve on, which is why, you know, we've talked about it so many times, you know, when I've been on travels with AIA, is getting that extra hour sleep. I would like an extra hour sleep. So if I could kick one habit out, would be, you know, my sleeping habits.
So basically you felt like how your opponents felt on the pitch, sleepless nights.
Well, so yeah, I'd like to think so.
Yes, I think they're happy to hear this thing. Ooh, he had it as well. It's not just us. और नीरज, अगर आपको अपनी एक आदत जो है जिससे आप खुश नहीं है, उसको जैवलिन की तरह वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड दूरी पे फेंकना हो, तो कौन सी आदत को दूर फेंकेंगे?
मतलब ऐसा तो कुछ स्पेशल ऐसा है नहीं, मतलब ऐसा ही है कि काफी, अब मैं वहां से आया हूँ ओलंपिक से, तो कुछ भी मैं अभी अपना इंडिया में था, तो ऐसे कोई भी थोड़ा ऐसे बोल दे कि नहीं नीरज अच्छे से बात नहीं कर रहा, नीरज बदल गया, तो वो मुझे बहुत बुरा लगता है। मतलब ऐसा लगता है कि यार मैं कोशिश कर रहा हूँ सभी से इतने अच्छे से वो करने का, सबसे बात करने की, पर अगर मुझे ऐसा मौका मिले तो मैं वो फीलिंग फेंकना चाहता हूँ, ताकि मुझे इतना बुरा ना लगे और मैं अपनी लाइफ में ऐसे चलता रहूं अच्छे से। और मैं कोशिश करता हूँ कि सभी से मतलब अच्छे से प्यार से बात कर सकूं, सब कुछ।
बहुत बढ़िया नीरज, ये इतना अच्छा पॉइंट है डेविड. Actually, Neeraj has made such an important point, because when success comes in India, an individual gold medal, it's only happened for the second time after Abhinav Bindra. Neeraj has won it. A lot of people who are around you will tell you that, hey, you've changed, you're not the same, and you had success at a very early age as well. And I'm sure you had a lot of people around who would, you know, say, oh no, you've changed, you're different, or their behavior changes to you. How then do you maintain your focus? Because now you're one of the most recognized faces on the planet, but you still got to do your job every day. How do you maintain that focus?
Yeah, I think that I'm very lucky, because I have a lot of good people around me, good friends, obviously my family. You know, the majority of the people that are around me, whether it's in my business or in my life, I've been there for a long time. So I know that if they turn around to me one day and say, you've changed or you're being different, I know they're telling the truth. So luckily they don't say that to me, but on the odd occasion they might say something, and I know, okay, I need to refocus. So, you know, over the years, obviously, like we've been talking about, you know, people will come up to you and say, you've changed, you're being different, you're acting different. But as long as you know that you have the right people around you, and the people that you really know well and really listen to and trust, that's the most important thing, to surround yourself with the best people.
Do you remember though, was there a tipping point where, because you got fame and big fame very early in life, do you remember that tipping point? Did you talk to yourself and say, all right, listen, David, you got to walk the path here, man. Don't get distracted.
No, you know what? I never had to do that, because I had, like I said, I had good people around me from a very young age, but also my dad. If he thought for 1 second that I was thinking those thoughts, then I would be in trouble. And so I always thought that.
नीरज, एक्चुअली आपने अभी ये जो बात छेड़ी थी, इसी पे मैं अगर आगे बात करूं, पिछले 5-6 महीने में गोल्ड मेडल जीतने के बाद ऑब्वियसली इतना सारा अटेंशन, मीडिया अटेंशन, फैन अटेंशन, क्या ये वजह है कि आप फिर कैलिफोर्निया चले गए ट्रेनिंग करने के लिए, कि इंडिया में तो हो नहीं पाएगी?
नहीं, कैलिफोर्निया तो मैं इसलिए आया क्योंकि मुझे बस जब मैं ट्रेनिंग कर रहा होता तो मेरा फोकस सिर्फ उसी पे होना चाहिए, और मैं उसी के लिए फिर अपने स्पोर्ट के लिए, मतलब मैं कहीं भी कॉम्प्रोमाइज नहीं करना चाहता, क्योंकि जब मैं सब कुछ मेरे पास स्पोर्ट्स की वजह से आया है, तो मैं अपने स्पोर्ट में 100% देना चाहता हूं, और मैं नहीं चाहता कि उस टाइम पे मैं कोई भी यहाँ पे इधर उधर काम करूं, और अपना पूरा फोकस मैं स्पोर्ट्स में लगाना चाहता हूँ। क्योंकि इस साल हमारे काफी बड़े कॉम्पिटिशन्स है, वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप है, एशियन गेम्स, कॉमनवेल्थ गेम्स हैं, डेविड सर के कंट्री में ही है इस बार, तो पूरा उसके लिए अच्छी तैयारी कर रहा हूँ।
He's coming for the Commonwealth Games, David. So there's a chance for that salmon dinner.
Okay, I better cook it well. I don't want you getting sick for the games.
Okay.
I'll make sure it's cooked properly, I promise.
Yeah. So I guess I think it's safe, Neeraj, to have the dinner after the competition.
No, you have to trust me. You have to trust me.
I trust
I'll
you,
get Gordon Ramsay to do it.
Oh, great. That's even better. Well, David, with great, as they say, with great power comes great responsibility. And as global brand ambassador for AIA, how do you feel you're impacting lives in health and wellness? Because this is a very important kind of perch platform that you have. And I know you take this very seriously.
I really do. And I'm very proud to be, a global ambassador for AIA, because I can see the great work that's being done by an organization that really cares about people living healthier, longer, better lives. And, I think the changes that we've seen over the years, the changes that I've seen, with families, just changing their lifestyles in a small way actually makes a big difference.
नीरज, आपको भी अगर सेम सवाल, आप टाटा एआईए के नए एम्बेसडर हैं, तो ये हेल्थ और वेलनेस का जो संदेशा देना लोगों को, इसके बारे में क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप?
मैं यही बताना चाहूंगा, क्योंकि मैं भी इस चीज के बारे में धीरे धीरे समझ रहा हूँ। और जैसा कि सर ने बताया, खिलाड़ी का लाइफ ऐसा है कि भाई हाँ, कुछ पता नहीं है, कब इंजरी वगैरह कब कुछ हो जाए, या आदमी के लिए भी है कि हमको कल का कुछ पता नहीं है। तो उसके लिए अपने आप को पहले ही सिक्योर रखना बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है। तो मैं ये सभी को ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि हाँ, इस चीज के ऊपर विचार करें, सोचें और आप अपना ध्यान रखें और इस चीज पे आप फोकस करें थोड़ा।
Yeah, because David, that's the point, right? I mean, sometimes it seems almost counterintuitive to say it, but we all do this as human beings, where we feel like there's ambition and there's work and you're doing all of this, and we forget that this is the only tool we have to achieve those dreams, and we tend not to take care of it or get a little careless about it.
Yeah, we do. And I think that we've noticed that really over the last 2.5 years, through going through the pandemic. I think people have had the time really to sit back and find what is the most important thing in their lives and the important things that really matter. And I think that is the real positive that's come out of, this pandemic. The silver lining has come out that people are starting to care about people a lot more and care about themselves and their families a lot more and really take care of themselves. So I think that, that is the silver lining from this pandemic, that people are starting to care a lot more about each other.
David, I know we've run out of time with you, but with a couple of minutes that we have, one very important thing, because I want, as an Indian fan, since Neeraj is here, Neeraj also in the last few months now has become this superstar in India, can't walk down the road without getting mobbed. You've lived that life for very long. What is the advice you would like to give to Neeraj, how to manage fame and your work commitments and your training and your family and your friends and yourself, just because you've done it so well?
Well, I think I don't need probably to give you any advice. I think, the success.
Please, sir, I need this advice.
Well, the success that you've had is incredible. And, I'm sure the whole country is so proud of what you've achieved. It's such a big moment. And to have a gold medal is just, I've held one once, but, I don't have my own. But, one day maybe you can show me yours. But my advice would be to enjoy it, to stay humble, to enjoy it, and to enjoy it with your friends and family, because it's the most important thing. But like I said, enjoy it, because those moments are so special.
Yes, thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Amazing. It's gold. He's got a gold medal, but that's gold advice from David Beckham. And I'm sure that he's going to hold that very close to his heart. We have a quick rapid fire with you, David. Just a few quick questions before you leave. And I'm sure a lot of your Indian fans are very, very excited about this. So are you ready? You're always ready.
Always ready.
Always ready. He's born ready. Your favorite Indian dish?
My favorite Indian dish. Oh my goodness. I love, it's going to sound pathetic, but I love a chicken korma. I grew up on chicken korma and I love chicken korma, but I like a lot spicier things now. So yeah, I'll say a chicken korma because it's what I grew up on with my parents. But I like spicier things now.
Excellent. Is that with a garlic naan? Or
I like a peshwari.
Ooh, nice. Ooh.
I like the sweetness.
We ain't dealing with an amateur here, guys. He's a pro. If not a footballer, then what would David Beckham have been?
The artist. I always like to draw cartoons for the kids, so I like to draw.
Oh, that's interesting. Didn't know that. Protection for you in life means?
Protection for me in life means my family.
Your favorite footballer growing up?
Brian Robson.
Your worthiest competitor, the person you played against that you relished the most or you marveled the
Roberto
most?
Carlos.
You've got better hair than Roberto Carlos. This is one of those if you know jokes. नीरज, आप रेडी हैं अपने रैपिड फायर के लिए?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल
बिल्कुल. जैवलिन की तरफ फेंकूंगा, ठीक है, सीधा निशाने पे. आपको वापस फेंकना है सीधा निशाने पे, ठीक है? आपके फेवरेट स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन?
मेरे फेवरेट स्पोर्ट्स पर्सन जंज लजनी, जिनका जैवलिन का वर्ल्ड रिकॉर्ड है. और जब मैंने शुरू किया था स्पोर्ट, जब अपनी जैवलिन शुरू की थी, तो तब से ही मैं उनके वीडियो देखता था, तो मुझे बहुत मोटिवेशन मिलता था और मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगते हैं. उनकी कंसिस्टेंसी जो रही है, जो हमेशा उन्होंने हमेशा अच्छी थ्रो लगाते रहे हर कंपटीशन में, वो चीज बहुत पसंद है.
अब बच्चे आपकी वीडियो देख रहे हैं. अमेजिंग. देखिए कैसे लाइफ फुल सर्कल आ जाता है. यूके में या इंग्लैंड में आपने कोई ऐसी चीज खाई जो बहुत पसंद आई आपको?
हाँ जी, बिल्कुल. हम लंदन वर्ल्ड चैंपियनशिप के लिए गए थे 2017 में वहां पे. तो मैं ब्रेकफास्ट जब करने जाता, ब्रेकफास्ट वहां पे बहुत अच्छा होता था. कि उसके कंपटीशन के पास में हमको कम खाना होता है, लेकिन फिर भी मैं जब ब्रेकफास्ट करने जाता था तो हम ज्यादा खा लेते थे.
फुल इंग्लिश ब्रेकफास्ट. तो बेक बीन्स, पोटैटो, सॉसेज,
साथ में
एग्स,
ऑमलेट होता था उसका, बहुत अच्छा लगता था.
वाओ. कार्ब्स कम, प्रोटीन ज्यादा. कार्ब्स कम, प्रोटीन. अगर जैवलिन नहीं तो कौन से स्पोर्ट में, कौन सा स्पोर्ट आपके लिए नंबर 2 है?
ओके, तो वैसे तो मुझे बहुत अच्छे लगते हैं अलग अलग स्पोर्ट्स, मतलब देखने में सभी स्पोर्ट्स अच्छे लगते हैं वैसे तो, जो फिजिकली स्पोर्ट है खासकर. पर शायद मैं, क्योंकि हमारे गांव में ज्यादा फैसिलिटी और ज्यादा थी नहीं, तो वॉलीबॉल था, तो शायद मैं वॉलीबॉल खेलता. और पता नहीं यहाँ तक आ पाता कि नहीं, पर हाँ शायद मैं वॉलीबॉल खेलता, क्योंकि वॉलीबॉल हमारे गांव में खेलते थे उस टाइम पे.
चलो बहुत बढ़िया. आप अभी और कुछ मत खेलिए, ठीक है? आप यही करिए जो आप कर रहे हैं. भरोसा जो शब्द है, आपके लिए भरोसे का मतलब क्या है? भरोसा आपके लिए क्या मायने रखता है?
भरोसा मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, चाहे वो किसी और पे भी हो या खुद पे भी हो. तो भरोसा अगर हमको होगा किसी भी चीज पे, या खुद पे होगा या किसी और पे होगा, तो वो काम करना बहुत ही आसान हो जाएगा हमारे लिए.
और एक चीज जो आज आपने डेविड बेकहम से सीखी, जो हमेशा
बहुत ही
आपके
अच्छी
पास
बात
रही?
सीखी है कि जो उन्होंने बोला कि हाँ, हमारे आसपास के जो आदमी होते हैं वो हमको, मतलब वो ऐसा फील नहीं कराते. जैसा कि मैंने बोला था कि सभी ये बोलते हैं कि चेंज हो गया या होगा, तो वो जो सभी बोलते हैं, लेकिन डेविड सर ने बोला कि हाँ, जो मेरे आसपास के आदमी हैं, जो मेरे आसपास है, मेरी फैमिली है जैसे, या मेरे फ्रेंड्स हैं, जो अच्छे फ्रेंड्स हैं जो काफी टाइम से, तो वो आज भी मेरे साथ वैसे ही है. वो कभी कुछ नहीं बोलते. अगर वो बोलेंगे तो वो बिल्कुल इसका मतलब है कि मैं बदल गया सच में ही. तो वो डेविड सर से बहुत ही अच्छी बात सीखने को मिली कि हाँ, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, आप अपना काम करते रहो, और जो बोलेगा वो बोलता ही रहेगा, लेकिन जो आपको अच्छे से जानते हैं उनको पता है कि आप कैसे हो.
बहुत बढ़िया. और जाते जाते आपके जो सारे फैंस हैं, उनको आप क्या संदेशा देना
मैं
चाहिए?
सबसे पहले तो उनको यही हाथ जोड़ के नमस्ते बोलता हूँ और धन्यवाद करता हूँ कि उन्होंने इतनी ज्यादा सपोर्ट दिखाई है, और अभी आज तक भी वो इतनी ज्यादा सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं. चाहे मैं, मतलब हमारा कंपटीशन नहीं हुआ, लेकिन फिर भी वो मैं बिल्कुल आराम से ट्रेनिंग कर रहा हूँ, और वो इतने ज्यादा, सबसे अच्छी बात है कि वो मोटिवेट है इस चीज से कि हाँ, हमको भी कुछ अलग करना है. तो वो चीज मैं चाहता हूँ कि अलग अलग फील्ड में इंडिया में इस चीज को करें कि हाँ, अपने अपने फील्ड में कुछ अलग करें, ताकि ये है कि उनको, उनके लिए भी एक ऐसा, मैं भी उनको देखो और मुझे भी खुशी हो, ताकि वो कल को मिले मुझे ये बोल सके कि हाँ, हम जब गोल्ड जीता उसके बाद हम काफी मोटिवेट हुए थे, तो मैं उनसे मिलूं तो मुझे खुद लगे कि हाँ यार, सच में मुझे बहुत मजा आएगा उनसे मिलकर.
नीरज, आपसे बात करके बहुत मजा आया हमको. और आपकी परफॉर्मेंस देख के तो मजा आता ही है, आप दिल खुश कर देते हैं। आप मतलब एक गर्व जो होता है हमको जब हम देखते हैं आप मेडल्स और जीतें और भारत के लिए और जो है मुकाम है हमें लेके जाएं आगे, और हम आपको सपोर्ट करते रहेंगे। हमारे दिल से आपका सपोर्ट 100% है, आप भी 100% दीजिए, और ये जो है ना हमारा रिलेशनशिप, हमारा जो रिश्ता है, ये साल भर साल बढ़ता ही जाए। सो all the best to you.
Thank you so much.
Excellent. David, before we leave, any final words you'd like to say to Neeraj?
Firstly, I'd like to say it's a pleasure to meet you, Neeraj. I would like to say congratulations with all of your success. And my one advice would be enjoy it, because these moments are so special, and I'm sure you've enjoyed it with your friends and your family. So it's really a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations. And lastly, welcome to the AIA family. We're so proud that you've become a member of our family. So congratulations, and I can't wait to see you soon. And cook that salmon.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
And once again, David, thank you so much for being so gracious and for sharing so humbly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Pleasure. Thank you so much. See you soon, Neeraj.
Thank you. See you.
Well, that's all we have time for. Would like to thank both the legends, David Beckham, Global AIA Ambassador, and of course, our pride and joy, India's pride and joy, our gold medalist, Neeraj Chopra, Tata AIA brand ambassador, for joining us today, for sharing so openly, for giving us some great pearls of wisdom. There's a lot to learn from what they said. And of course, there was a lot to enjoy, which we did in the moment. I'd like to thank all of you for being here. On behalf of Tata AIA, I'm Gaurav Kapur. Truly was a pleasure being in front of you today. Goodbye.